Hey guys, welcome out to the range. Today I wanted to show you a Glock modification that I've done to my Glock 17, but before we get further I wanted to answer what that is. My barriers, I've been working with my barriers today, and I'm using my barrier as essentially a windbreak because it's blowing really hard out here today. You guys have already seen this gun. I have walked you through some of the modifications that I've done on it, but I wanted to show you a little more in detail because I realized that I sped through some of this stuff in the past. I did the full frame modification 360, stripped off the finger grooves front and back because they're made for a 12-year-old girl, and then contoured the trigger guard, rolled it up so that when I'm holding the gun, my middle finger is able to get higher up on the gun. I'll get to this in just a minute. Had the slide done by Doug Presson, and this gun has, I honestly, I don't know. One of my students was at the house the other day, and he actually shot this gun. This is Christian right here in this photograph. This is Christian, and he actually shot this gun when it was brand new, and he just saw it the other day for the first time in a long time, because he's been overseas for a little bit. But anyways, he goes, "How many rounds does that thing have on it?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. I couldn't even begin to guess, because on the low spectrum, 5,000 to 6,000 a year, because this really wasn't my primary. I was always kind of running my 19s, but 5,000 to 6,000 rounds a year, and I've had this gun since, I don't know, 2013, I think. So a crap ton of rounds have gone through this gun, which is why it looks the way it does. And to some of you, that's just downright ew. But really, I like it when a gun gets this way, because it shows that the gun is being used. But so yeah, Doug Presson did the slide for me. Great job. I put Proctor Wynotch sights on it. Love them. These are like having a red dot sight on your handgun without the hassle of dealing with batteries. And I have a video on how good fiber optic sights are, so don't worry about your fiber optic sight failing you. It's really hard to get a fiber optic sight to fail, as long as you're checking the front and the rear to make sure that those little dots are in place. And every once in a while, just give it a little wiggle. If there's any movement in the actual fiber optic itself, apply a little lighter to tighten it back up again, and you'll be good. Internally, the only thing I've changed on this gun is the connector. It's a ZEV V4. Everything else in this gun is, oh no, I'm sorry, the safety plunger as well is a titanium coated deal that I got from somewhere, I don't know. But the connector is a ZEV V4, which is not made anymore, I'm sorry. The ZEV Pro is really good though. It's not as good as the V4, but it's good. What this video is mostly about today, I wanted to show you guys, is the accelerator cut. Everyone's seen accelerator cuts, but what I did was, you can actually kind of see sort of a ghost of the line going at an angle like that, right? I changed the cuts from angled this way to horizontal, because what I was finding was on the angled vertical cuts, my thumb, because my hands are so huge, I was getting far in front of the slide, or far in front of the frame here, and I was making contact with the front serrations, and it was actually causing enough contact and enough hang up here, not so much hurting me, but actually retarding the pistol. And in slowing down the recoil impulse, I was actually creating malfunctions. And I tested that immediately by removing my thumb and basically hooking it around the trigger guard and creating the tension that the pistol needs. Because remember, the pistol needs tension from your body to properly run. So I hooked and then ran through a mag, no malfunctions. Went back to the way I was shooting, drawing from the holster, and malfunction after malfunction. I was getting stovepipes, I was getting casings going over the top of my head, which is abnormal. So I realized we got a problem. So I went ahead and I modified the gas pedal cuts to be horizontal rather than vertical angled, and then stippled them. And the stippling, in fact, if you look at the pistol this way, you can see it. You can see kind of that little shelf on either side where my thumb goes. And what it does is, instead of you adding a protrusion to the gun, which can modify how it sits in a holster, you're actually taking material away and pushing in. Well, what that ends up doing is, there's a natural fence in this area right here on a Glock. There's a little divot for the takedown lever. Well, the takedown lever was now biting into my thumb right here, and it was just tearing me up something awful. I mean, it was vicious, and I kept going, okay, that's going to have to go. So I dremeled that off, took a Birchwood KC pen, steel pen, and darkened it back out again, and it's fixed the problem. And now I have a great deal of control over the handgun. Now I've got a great deal of control over the handgun, and I don't have to worry about it flipping up on me anymore, because I gave myself that extra shelf and I've stippled it, because even with the shelf I was finding that the gun was essentially skipping off, or my thumb was skipping off the gun, and I was ending up doing this, which also can cause malfunctions. And it can also just throw you. You know, you can fire a shot and the gun does that, and it forces you to get it back in again, get back under control. And if you've done the effort to modify your weapon to your hands, and the key is you have to be fearless. Okay, if you're fearful about doing this to your handgun, guys, you're not understanding. This is the tool. I look at handguns differently than most other people. Having carried one as a police officer, having pointed handguns at people in life and death situations, and actually having pulled a trigger on a human being, I see handguns differently than most other people, which is why I have a very austere view of how a handgun should be applied. So what I say to you is, if you're not treating your handgun as the tool that it is, man, what's the point? Get those guns. You always you hear me say this at the closing of my videos. God bless you all, get those guns out in practice. Well, not only do I mean get the gun out in practice, I mean just like run the gun, work with it. It doesn't mean run it dry, because that's just dumb, but run the gun hard. Learn what you and your gun are capable of, which is why, and I'll leave you with this, which is why I know to some of you this is going to be like, what? If you knew how few firearms I actually own, it would actually, with all honesty, it would actually shock you if you knew how very few guns I actually have. For me, they're tools. And for me, it is a case of this works, this doesn't, so why would I own this? It doesn't matter that this is a collector's item. It doesn't matter that this has nostalgic whatever. Guys, don't get me wrong. If you've got your grandpappy's gun, dude, yeah, that's a family heirloom. Okay? That's not what I'm talking about. If you have a nostalgic connection to something, think about it, because if you're not shooting a firearm or two consistently, then you're not really learning your capabilities with that firearm as best as you can, which is why I say to you, find what works and then stick with it. Guys, that's pretty much what I have for you today. No major epiphanies or anything. Just wanted to share with you as I learn things. As COVID is forcing me to change how I practice, I now come out here with maybe a box of 50, sometimes 100, but I don't exceed 100. Usually I don't even exceed that 100, meaning I don't even get up to 100 rounds. A lot of what I've been doing for practice is coming out here and essentially running drills where I draw the pistol, make sure that I have a solid sight picture before that buzzer goes off. It's 2.5 seconds, and actually we're roughly 11, it's normally done from 10 yards, which is where that camera is. But basically it's draw, sight picture, pull the trigger. You're gonna get a dip of the gun, who cares? Perfectly normal. That's your body anticipating the bang, the input from the pistol that it was going to get. Like there, got a little bit of a dip. Don't ignore the dip, guys. The dip is actually a normal part of how your body deals with that input. And then once you do a bunch of reps, then load up and then do live. And what I end up doing is I can take 50 rounds, and I can turn those 50 rounds into about 30 minutes of practice. And so instead of blowing through ammo like I used to when I had access to gobloads of ammo, now I have to ration what I have. And by the way, guys, I've been paying for my ammo for years, so it isn't like I was being given ammo. Those days of being a magazine writer where I would have 10,000 rounds of something dropped off on my front porch and FedEx hated me, those days are done. I pay for my own ammo now, so I'm in the same boat as you guys are. Anyways, that's what I've got for you guys. Modify your handgun to fit your needs. Work with your handgun, learn your handgun. As always, I thank you guys for watching. God bless you all. Get those guns out in practice. Have a good one.